Rotten Tomatoes, we understand the hard work and dedication that goes into making a movie. That's why it takes twice as much to remake a movie, because it's just math, right? Today we're looking at best movie remakes, and we're talking about the worlds, stories, and characters that we couldn't get enough of once, so we had to go back for seconds.
Come on. Okay. Do you want to play rough? Okay. Uno. Say hello to my little friend!
For this list, we included titles with at least 10 reviews and that were ranked highest by Tomatometer. So refill your popcorn and rearrange your cushions, because we are about to revisit some old favorites and count down the best movie remakes of all time. Number 10, The Thing. In remote Antarctica, a group of American research scientists are disturbed at their base camp by a helicopter shooting at a sled dog. When they take in the dog, it brutally attacks both human beings and canines in the camp, and they discover that the beast can assume the shape of its victims. A resourceful helicopter pilot and the camp doctor lead the camp crew in a desperate, gory battle against the vicious creature before it picks them all off one by one. Starring Kurt Russell, Wilford Brimley, Keith David, and directed by John Carpenter. Critics say grimmer and more terrifying than the 1950s take, John Carpenter's The Thing is a tense sci-fi thriller rife with compelling tension and some remarkable makeup effects.
Let's do it.
Get me out of here. Cut me loose. Cut me the hell. Come on, get me out of here. Come on, get me out of here. Cut me loose, damn it.
I know you gentlemen have been through a lot. And when you find the time, I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this f***ing couch!
Number 9, Ocean's 11. Dapper Danny Ocean is a man of action. Less than 24 hours into his parole from a New Jersey penitentiary, the wry, charismatic thief is already rolling out his next plan. Following 3 rules, of course: don't hurt anybody, don't steal from anyone who doesn't deserve it, and play the game like you've got nothing to lose. Danny orchestrates the most sophisticated, elaborate casino heist in history. Starring George Clooney, Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, and directed by Steven Soderbergh. Critics say, as fast-paced, witty, and entertaining as it is star-studded and coolly stylish, Ocean's 11 offers a well-seasoned serving of popcorn entertainment.
Do not blow the door. Linus, can you read me?
10, 9, 8.
Maybe the pinch blew out his earwig. Linus, can you read me? Do not blow the door.
2, 1. Something.
Well, did you check the batteries? You know, you lose focus in this game for 1 second.
I know, somebody gets hurt. I hear Yen complaining.
Number 8, Let Me In. Bullied at school, neglected at home, and incredibly lonely, 12-year-old Owen spends his days plotting revenge on his tormentors and spends his nights spying on other residents of the apartment complex. His sole friend is Abby, a strange girl who comes out only at nighttime. Both outcasts, the two form a strong bond. When Abby's caretaker disappears amid a series of gruesome murders, Owen begins to suspect that she is hiding a terrible secret. Starring Cody Smith-McPhee, Chloe Grace Moretz, Richard Jenkins, and directed by Matt Reeves. Critics say, similar to the original in all the right ways, but with enough changes to stand on its own, Let Me In is the rare Hollywood remake that doesn't add insult to inspiration.
No, stop! Stop! You're coming! You're coming! What was that? I don't know. I just know this is what happens if you don't invite me in.
Number 7, 310 to Yuma. Outlaw Ben Wade terrorizes 1800s Arizona, especially the Southern Railroad, until he is finally captured. Wade must be brought to trial, so Dan Evans, the owner of a drought-stricken ranch, volunteers to escort him to the train. Along the trail, a grudging respect forms between the men, but danger looms at every turn, and the criminals' men are in pursuit. Starring Russell Crowe, Christian Bale, Logan Lerman, and directed by James Mangold. Critics say this remake of a classic Western improves on the original, thanks to fiery performances from Russell Crowe and Christian Bale, as well as sharp direction from James Mangold.
We're on the roof! We're on the roof! Boss!
You make this.
Number 6, The Departed. South Boston cop Billy Costigan goes undercover to infiltrate the organization of gangland chief Frank Costello. As Billy gains the mobster's trust, a career criminal named Colin Sullivan infiltrates the police department and reports on its activities to his syndicate bosses. When both organizations learn that they have a mole in their midst, Billy and Colin must figure out each other's identities to save their own lives. Starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, and directed by Martin Scorsese. Critics say, featuring outstanding work from an excellent cast, The Departed is a thoroughly engrossing gangster drama with the gritty authenticity and soupy morality we come to expect from Martin Scorsese.
I got this rat, this gnawing, key-eating f***ing rat. And it brings up questions. You know, see, Bill, like, you're the new guy. Girlfriend. Why don't you stay in the bar that night I got your numbers? Social security numbers.
Yeah.
Everybody's numbers.
Is there something that you just want to go ahead and ask me? Because I'll give you the answer, all right? Frank, look at me. Look at me. I'm not the rat, okay? I'm not the rat.
Start with you agree there is a rat.
You said there is one, all right? I base most of what I do on the idea that you're pretty good at what you do.
Number 5, West Side Story. Love at first sight strikes when young Tony spots Maria at a high school dance in 1957 New York City. Their burgeoning romance helps to fuel the fire between the warring Jets and Sharks, two rival gangs vying for control of the streets. Starring Ansel Elgort, Rachel Zegler, Ariana DeBose, Rita Moreno, and directed by Steven Spielberg. Critics say Steven Spielberg's West Side Story presents a new look at the classic musical that lives up to its beloved forebear and, in some respects, might even surpass it.
Go back where you came from. You think I want to stay here? In a city full of ugly little animals like you? No, gracias. Yo no soy americana. Yo soy puertorriqueña. Tell Tony. You tell that murderer. Maria ain't coming. Gino, you found out about them, Tony and Maria. He shot her. Maria is dead. You tell him that.
Number 4, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This remake of the classic horror film is set in San Francisco. Matthew Bonnell assumes that when a friend complains of her husband's strange mood, it's a marital issue. However, he begins to worry as more people report similar observations. His concern is confirmed when writer Jack Belichick and his wife discover a mutated corpse. Besieged by an invisible enemy, Matthew must work quickly before the city is consumed. Starring Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Leonard Nimoy, and directed by Philip Kaufman. Critics say employing gritty camera work and evocative sound effects, Invasion of the Body Snatchers is a powerful remake that expands upon themes and ideas only lightly explored in the original.
Go on, keep on running, don't stop. Go on. This way, follow me.
Number 3, The Fly. When scientist Seth Brundle completes his teleportation device, he decides to test its abilities on himself. Unbeknownst to him, a housefly slips into the process, leading to a merger of man and insect. Initially, Brundle appears to have undergone a successful teleportation, but the fly cells begin to take over his body. As he becomes increasingly fly-like, Brundle's girlfriend is horrified as the person she once loved deteriorates into a monster. Starring Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis, John Getz, and directed by David Cronenberg. Critics say David Cronenberg combines his trademark affinity for gore and horror with strongly developed characters, making The Fly a surprisingly affecting tragedy. Number 2, True Grit. After an outlaw named Tom Chaney murders her father, feisty 14-year-old farm girl Maddie Ross hires Rooster Cogburn, a boozy, trigger-happy lawman, to help her find Chaney and avenge her father. The bickering duo are not alone in their quest, for a Texas Ranger named LaBeef is also tracking Chaney for reasons of his own. Together, the unlikely trio ventures into hostile territory to dispense some Old West justice. Starring Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, Haley Steinfeld, and directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. Critics say, girded by strong performances from Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, and newcomer Haley Steinfeld, and lifted by some of the Coens' most finely tuned, unaffected work, True Grit is a worthy companion to the Charles Portis book.
I will just one high or far.
There. There! My bullet!
Your bullet? If you hit what you aim at, explain my shoulder.
Gentlemen, shooting cornbread out here on the prairie is getting us no closer to the Ned Pepper gang.
One more. This'll prove it. Please hold fire.
And before we reveal number one, here are some honorable mentions. Scarface. After getting a green card in exchange for assassinating a Cuban government official, Tony Montana stakes a claim on the drug trade in Miami. Viciously murdering anyone who stands in his way, Tony eventually becomes the biggest drug lord in the state, controlling nearly all the cocaine that comes through Miami. But increased pressure from the police, wars with Colombian drug cartels, and his own drug-fueled paranoia served to fuel the flames of his eventual downfall. Starring Al Pacino, Michelle Pfeiffer, Stephen Bauer, and directed by Brian De Palma. Critics say director Brian De Palma and star Al Pacino take it to the limit in this stylized, ultra-violent, and eminently quotable gangster epic that walks a thin line between moral drama and celebratory excess.
You're gonna have her. I go away, I'm gonna disappear, Tony. You'll never see me again, Tony. Please, I don't want to die. I never did nothing to nobody. I never.
No. You never did nothing to nobody.
That's right.
You had somebody else do it for you.
Oh, Tony, come on. I'm begging you.
Get up! Jesus! Get up!
No! God. Louis. Don't kill me, please.
I ain't gonna kill you.
Oh, Christ, thank you.
Get up.
Thank you.
No. Shoot that piece of
No.
Every dog has his day.
Dawn of the Dead. When her husband is attacked by a zombified neighbor, Anna manages to escape, only to realize that her entire Milwaukee neighborhood has been overrun by the Walking Dead. After being questioned by cautious policeman Kenneth, Anna joins him and a small group that gravitates to the local shopping mall as a bastion of safety. Once they convince suspicious security guards that they are not contaminated, the group bands together to fight the undead hordes. Starring Sarah Polley, Ving Rhames, Jake Weber, and directed by Zack Snyder. Critics say a kinetic, violent, and surprisingly worthy remake of George Romero's horror classic that pays homage to the original while working on its own terms.
Run!
And before we get to number one, here is another honorable mention. The Mummy. The Mummy is a rousing, suspenseful, and horrifying epic about an expedition of treasure-seeking explorers in the Sahara Desert in 1925. Stumbling upon an ancient tomb, the hunters unwittingly set loose a 3,000-year-old legacy of terror, which is embodied in the vengeful reincarnation of an Egyptian priest who had been sentenced to an eternity as one of the living dead. Starring Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, John Hannah, and directed by Stephen Sommers. Critics say it's difficult to make a persuasive argument for The Mummy as any kind of meaningful cinematic achievement, but it's undeniably fun to watch.
anak sunan mo.
Hey! Get your ugly face off of her! Look at I got it.
And finally, number 1, The Wizard of Oz. When a tornado rips through Kansas, Dorothy and her dog Toto are whisked away in their house to the magical land of Oz. They follow the yellow brick road toward the Emerald City to meet the wizard, and en route they meet a scarecrow that needs a brain, a tin man missing a heart, and a cowardly lion who wants courage. The wizard asks the group to bring him the broom of the Wicked Witch of the West to earn his help. Starring Judy Garland, Frank Morgan, Burt Lahr, and directed by Victor Fleming. Critics say an absolute masterpiece whose groundbreaking visuals and depth storytelling are still every bit as resonant. The Wizard of Oz is a must-see film for young and old.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. We must be over the rainbow.
Well, my friends, that about does it for us. Be sure to stay tuned to the Rotten Tomatoes channel for more of that entertainment content that you love. Until next time, I'm your host, Naz Perez, and we'll see you back here for more top 10s on the Rotten Tomatoes Countdown.